Hey guys, welcome back. This is History of Power Rangers Season 2, Episode 46 of my show, but this is about Episode 44 of Season 2. Now, Episode 44, in the Power Rangers second season is part 1 in the 3-part episode Return of the Green Ranger. So, now that I'm on that 3-parter, I just want to mention, after this 3-part episode is finished, we won't have any more 3-parters to cover for this season, but, there will be one single episode and then two 2-part episodes that I'm gonna cover after this, so expect those to be out soon. But anyway, well, soon after I finish this 3-part episode, which is for 3 videos. I'm just getting off topic there, I'm just mentioning that. But anyway, since we're on episode 44, that means, let's see, 45, 46, 47, 48... 49, 50, 51, 52. That means we got 5, 6, 7, 8 more videos left. Since we're on episode 44, we got 8 more videos left before the end of this season. So, but enough getting off topic. This is the History of Power Rangers Season 2, Episode 46 of my show, but this is about episode 44 of season 2. Now, episode 44 in season 2 is known as The Return of the Green, is part 1 in the 3-part episode Return of the Green Ranger. Now, as the name of the episode states, basically, the Green Ranger is going to return in this episode like the evil one, but it's going to be a clone. But I'll explain about that when I get into the actual episode. Now, getting into the actual episode, basically the way this episode starts off is Miss Appleby is telling the students at Angel Grove that their assignment for the weekend is to decide which era they want to live in, if they were born in that period, and then write about it over the long weekend and stuff. And then basically after that, basically what happens is, well, basically because she's asking them to think about if they went back in time, what part of history would they be a part of. So basically that's what she wants them to write about over the long weekend in this episode. Anyway, and then basically, after that, basically, Billy is, well, one of the Rangers is asking Billy which timeline he'd like to live in if he got a chance to live in the past, and he basically says Albert Einstein, but of course he'd have to be his assistant at the time, which is kind of sense, because he's a genius and stuff. And oh, now that I mentioned it, after this one and after the two-part episodes, I'll explain about that later, though. Anyway, and by later I mean at the end of this season anyway, because I'm getting close to it. I just thought I'd bring it up. Anyway, when Zedd overhears that part of their conversation, he's like, if I would send them all back in time. Well, first what happens is the Rangers are, in their human forms, are asking Adam which time period he would like to live in, but he doesn't know precisely, and he's kind of a little depressed about it. And then that leads into the portion with Zedd. And basically, he said, like, if I would send them all back in time. And then Goldar asks his master, didn't that didn't the Ghost of Darkness, which is a being that Rita created, conjure up a wizard once that had those kinds of powers? And the wizard that Goldar is referring to, I'm just gonna mention this very quickly. Technically, the wizard that Goldar is referring to is known as the Wizard of Deception, who in this series is basically an old rival of Zordon. So essentially, he's like Zordon, except instead of good, he's evil kind of thing. So it's an opposite kind of thing. I just thought I'd bring that up. And then after Zedd hears about the ghost part, he's like, yes, but the ghost is Rita's creation, and she's been really difficult lately. I doubt she'll listen to me. And then Goldar basically says that he had to tell her as a command, but then Zedd said that he can't because that's not gonna work with Rita, because if he wants something with her, he has to ask it nicely. So basically he tells Goldar to basically deliver his message to Rita with all the kindest regards. And then basically he also explains to Goldar to remind Rita that no wife of his is allowed to fail him, and then he says he understands that, and then Zedd wonders why he married her anyway, because I think it's partially because he doesn't remember because of the love potion, which is actually very funny because I'm not going to explain why because it's for the third season, but it's funny in this case. And then Goldar mentions about that, and then said like, what did you say? And then Goldar tries to cover up what he said by saying they could use the Ghost of Darkness to summon up the wizard, which is exactly what Zedd wanted him to do with it. And so basically Goldar is essentially repeating what Zedd told him before because he was trying to cover up what he said previously. Oh my god. Anyway, what basically happens is after that segment, it goes back to where the Rangers are, and they're still wondering about what time frame they live in and stuff. And then basically, Adam is sort of a little depressed at this point. The reason why is mainly because of the fact that he doesn't know if he should do this project, if he should do this assignment because he doesn't know. I can't quite remember, but I know he's a little depressed about it in this episode anyway. Basically what happens is, after that, basically what happens is they're asking, anyway, basically what happens after that is, I'm sorry, I'm having a mental block here, not a mental block, basically, then it goes into the scene where Rita is in the palace, and then basically, what happens is, because the Rangers are still deliberating that, because none of the action sequences happen yet, but then after that, it goes to where Rita is in the castle, and then she's telling the Ghost of Darkness that her husband has sent her before him, and the Ghost of Darkness is saying that he heard about the wedding, and he wonders what he can do for her, basically, and she tells him that Zedd has basically come up with this plan to get rid of the Rangers by sending them back in time. And then the Ghost of Darkness is explaining that basically the Wizard of Deception does have the power to send the Rangers back to a different timeline, but as long as the White Ranger exists, they'll always surely find a way back. And then Rita's like, my point exactly! You can send the Rangers away, send them off planet, send them to the moon, but they always have the White Ranger to lead them back. Which is kind of a... So either way, even if they got rid of them, they would still come back regardless. So basically what the Ghost of Darkness tells Rita is that basically the White Ranger is a powerful ranger and that he can only be defeated by someone of the same caliber as he is. And that's when he conjures, and then he tells Rita that the Wizard of Deception will create a clone of the White Ranger and basically essentially create an evil green, essentially recreating the evil Green Ranger thing. Anyway, so this 3-part episode is sort of like the 5-part Green with Evil saga, except it's 3 parts instead of 5, so it's a lot shorter. And it's only for 3 episodes. Anyway, continuing on. Basically, then the Rangers, the Ghost of Darkness manages to summon the Wizard of Deception. Now I'm going to explain about him, because he says, "That's right, Zordon, I'm back." Now, basically, why he says he's back is because is apparently according to, as it's explained by Alpha to Zordon about the Ghost of Darkness. I mean, not the Wizard of Deception. Apparently, the Wizard of Deception and Zordon are rivals. So he's like Zordon's opposite, where Zordon's a good wizard and the Wizard of Deception's a bad one, sort of like a polar opposite kind of thing, like a yin-yang sort of thing. And I should also partially explain what his power is. Basically, as it's explained by Zordon in this episode, the Wizard of Deception, the reason why he's called that is because he has this ability in the episode to create these illusions that essentially become reality. Basically, what I'm guessing that means is if the illusion is allowed to stay for too long in one place, it becomes so lifelike that it becomes real. But then after Zordon finds out about the Wizard of Deception being back, he tells Alpha to contact the Rangers and tell them to be careful because the Wizard of Deception has the ability to create an illusion that then becomes reality, which is what I explained earlier. And then Alpha's like, the Wizard of Deception, there's no telling what he'll do. And then that's when the putties show up, and the Rangers manage to fight the putties a little, and then while the putties I don't know if the putties show up, but basically what happens is once the Wizard of Deception is on Earth, what happens is Bulk and Skull show up where the Wizard of Deception is, and then the Wizard of Deception puts them under a mind control trance, where he tells them to basically steal a piece of Tommy's head so he can recreate the Green Ranger put under his control. And they're like, yes, master. Because of the fact that they're so dumb with a kid. And then he tells them, I'll go. And And then Bogan's going like, yes, master. And then he says it one more time. And then after they say, yes, master again, basically, what happens is he says it the third time, but in a yell, like he's like, no, go! And then after that, he gets a little annoyed, like he's like, humans. Basically what happens is, and then basically what happens after that is, Bulk and Skull show up where Kimberly and Tommy are so they can try to take a piece of his hair, but they fail of Tommy's hair in order to create the evil Green Ranger clone, but it doesn't work out. And then after that, after a little commotion that's caused with them, he's wondering if they're okay, and they say in the trance that they're okay, and then after that they go towards where the Wizard of Deception is, and they're like, I ain't the master. And then basically what happens is after that, Tommy says that those two worry him sometimes, and then the Wizard of Deception gets angry with those two. He's like, you miserable, worthless humans! And then he knocks them unconscious. Well, uses his spell to knock them unconscious, basically. And then basically what happens is, after that he sends, he manages to fight the Rangers and basically steal a lock of Tommy's hair during their confrontation. And then basically after that he manages to get away. And because of that, Tommy is temporarily weakened. Now, there's a good reason for that, which I'll explain in the next video. Well, actually, I'll explain it in the next video. Actually, in this video, and I'll explain it again in the next video. Actually, it'll be in the next video. I'll explain it because it's more prominent that it happens in the next part. Anyway, continuing on. Basically, after the Wizard of Deception manages to get the fragment of Tommy's hair that the putties had tried to get, that he had Bulk and Skull try to get, but they failed. He uses his staff to create the illusion of the evil Green Ranger again, basically, and then the Green Ranger clone is basically saying that he will obey the Wizard of Deception, and then he tells them that from now on he's Tommy, keeper of the Green Ranger powers. And then basically what happens is after that, what happens is after that, they put their plan into motion, and that's when, after that, basically what happens is, then it goes into the scene with Billy, basically, where he tells the others what Zordon told them about the Wizard of Deception. Oh, but before I continue, I should bring this up with Zedd's character. After the evil Green Ranger clone is created and from the lock of Tommy's hair, basically, and he's impressed with the clone, and then basically he's asking, he's like, perhaps I underestimated Rita. And then he asks the wizard, and he's like, Wizard, what comes next? And then the Wizard of Deception basically tells Zedd that in order to make sure that the Power Rangers don't interrupt their plans, they have to keep them occupied and out of their way. And then when Zedd hears that part, he's like, I warn you, that is easier said than done. But then the Wizard of Deception is like, Oh, I assure you, Lord Zedd, the Rangers are going far. Very far. Which by that he basically means he's sending some of the rest of the Rangers except for Tommy back in time. In this episode, so that's what he means by that. And then when Zedd overhears that part, he's like, the sheer he's impressed by it, and the sheer magnitude of evil that has come from his marriage with Rita and himself basically has made them essentially sort of unstoppable, basically. And then basically what happens is after that, they're getting happy about it and stuff. And then it goes to a scene where the Wizard of Deception is... well, first what happens is the evil Green Ranger clone of Tommy first contacts the rest of the Rangers on their communicators, because after he was created, and he first showed up after Tommy had walked away from there and stuff, because basically, at that point, Billy had explained to, the rest of the Rangers what Zordon had told them about, the Wizard of Deception having the ability to create an illusion which becomes reality. And essentially, to put it in a simpler sense, Aisha says, like, a nightmare that has become true, basically. And that's what basically it is. And basically what happens is after that, the Rangers the rest of the Rangers are wondering what they should do, and then Billy says that Zordon told them at the moment, the only thing they can do is go on with the rest of their day and wait for Zordon to contact them again. And then that's when Tommy starts to feel a little weak, and then as he walks away, the evil clone of himself, the evil Green Ranger clone that was created from the lock of his hair, is in the bushes in this part of the episode. And then after that, basically what happens is, in the next scene, the clone version of Tommy contacts the rest of the Rangers on his communicator and tells them to meet up at the Angel Grove city limit sign outside of town, and they decide to do that. And when they show up to meet him there, because they think he's the real one, but he's not, he's the clone, they're wondering about why Zordon, because they're wondering why they're there, and he says that Zordon contacted them and said they should meet her and stuff. And then basically what happens is, after that, basically what happens is the Wizard of Deception shows up, and then they try to have the clone of Tommy help them fight him, but he doesn't, and they think he's turned on them, but that's because they don't know that he's the clone of the evil Green Ranger that Tommy was before he became the White Ranger, which was created from the lock of his hair, basically. Anyway, then the Wizard of Deception uses his staff to transport the Rangers back in time to a point in olden Angel Grove times, and then basically after that, that's when the attack on the Angel Grove in the present starts. Well, but after that part, what happens is after the Rangers are brought into the past, they're wondering what year they are. Well, actually, that's in the next part. Then it goes into the scene where the White Ranger version of Tommy, which is the real version of Tommy, shows up, and then he sees his evil clone, and basically the clone is telling him, well, because by this point in the episode, the Rangers have already been sent back to 1776, I believe, during the olden time of their town, basically. And because of the Wizard of Deception, basically, and stuff, they have to run from now that I mentioned that, they actually have to run from the soldiers because of that, because the soldiers think that they're witches, and which isn't really the truth. And then it goes back into the scene where Tommy is with the the evil Green Ranger clone on Earth, and he sees the Angel Woman in the present, and then he sees him, and then the evil Green Ranger is introducing himself, and then Tommy's wondering who he is, and then he explains that he's the Green Ranger, and that's basically where this part stops. So, if you guys like this video when I post it, I am going to post it. I'll probably post this video after supper today, so if you guys like this video when I post it, just please give this video the real best you guys can, and I will see you guys next time for the next video. So, until the next video, guys, like I always tell you with this series, may the power protect you always.